when I was younger, in my previous relationships, I was in a position of guy, wherein all of them said that because I sound intellectual, I always have reasons for things, I'm a good debater, and it's like all conversations is just about debating, it's just about winning, it's not about listening to other people. I would, accept that because that was me, that was the old me. And then after college, when I started working, I also had the same behavior and characteristic. A lot of people hated me because of that, and I started to reassess myself and the words that I use or how I say it, because that situation is not just applicable to romantic relationships, it's applicable to all types of relationships, even to friends or family. I don't know, it's just very difficult because I felt all of those things. That's why I guess I'm reacting this way to this episode, because I was there. I said those words before. I hurt a lot of people because of my words. I never wanted to lose in a conversation. Every conversation to me was like more of a desire to win over, and just prove my point. And when I became a consultant, my work ethics, my behaviors actually shifted in a major turn. And this time I practiced more to listen to other people and understand where they're coming from. It was very difficult. It was a very difficult situation because I was not used to that. I wasn't used to listening. I wasn't used to, I'm just used to hearing. Like when we are in an argument, we hear, but we don't listen. And in that situation, I was hearing, but I wasn't listening. And when I started in my work, now as a consultant, I have to listen to a lot of the problems. I have to listen to the perspectives, where they're coming from, even those that are completely opposite of my thoughts and my views. I started to somehow kind of understand the effect if you pause, backtrack a little, and listen to what they say, and somehow your emotions will lower down, and you somehow would try to understand what's happening. In that last situation, it was one misunderstood information over the other. It piled up because they didn't have the opportunity to actually communicate to one another openly. I know that we are in a safe place and they're in a safe environment with one another, and they are emotionally stable with one another. It's just that since this is new to them, they're navigating a new terrain, most especially with Kai. So a lot of these things have to be taken into consideration and how they react to that. And Kai actually said that if this is how we are going to be, with us not yet in official long distance relationship, then it's gonna be hard. Gav took that in a different way, and for him, what he thought was, so you're gonna break up with me? So you want to end this relationship? So that was his mindset. But that is not what Kai said. But that was the impression. The impression actually came from Kai's delivery, tone, and his non-verbal cues. I mean, his movements, his facial expression, everything. And that adds to Gav's insecurities and his fears. His fears that the relationship might not work. Even though he is very positive and he's very hopeful that the relationship will work. Because if you remember, Gav was the one who is like very hopeful about these things, and it's gonna work. Like he was sending Kai these articles that long distance relationship is gonna work, but deep inside he has these fears that is not addressed, fears that are not talked about, and these fears manifested when it was the moment that both of them are arguing and trying to win over one another. So it is really important that when you argue, it's kind of difficult to actually listen to what the other person is saying, because what you just wanted is to win over the argument. And what I learned in my experience is that when you are mad, like extremely mad, or you are like in the height of your emotions, it's best to not talk outright. It's best to actually go somewhere else, try to unwind, or try to assess these feelings and these emotions. Don't act on it just yet, because when you are at the height of your emotions and in your anger, most likely you are going to give the best speech of your life that you are going to regret. Now let's talk about the highlight of this episode: jealousy. Why are people getting jealous with another person? Jealousy, according to some psychologists, actually stems from that fear of infidelity. Whatever that special bond that you form with another person, you fear that it might not be as strong as you think it is. This infidelity might not be the same with every relationships, but definitely there are two types of infidelity that are somehow recurring in many of these people who are extremely jealous. One is sexual infidelity. So they fear that their partners might not be sexually faithful to them. And another one is emotional infidelity. So either of which, it might be the reason why that they are feeling this jealous. People are afraid to be rejected. We are afraid to be not accepted. We are afraid to lose the people that we care for. And that is why we tend to be territorial. We tend to, put out, different mechanisms to protect them. And in this mentality of revolving around fear of losing them, we tend to put very restrictive conditions that actually makes those significant others feel that we are on the boundary of jealousy and possessiveness. What can you do in dealing with jealousy in an intimate relationship? First thing is that when you feel that jealousy, don't act on it just yet. That jealousy again might be coming from a place of fear, that's coming from a place of hurt, coming from a place of doubt, and that might not be actually accurate in the situation. It might be those things that you have formed in your head because of previous relationships that you had, the trauma that you had. Don't let jealousy consume you, because when it does, then everything you do will not be objective. Everything that you do now is more of self-preservation. You wanted to preserve the relationship, you wanted to preserve your emotions, you wanted to protect yourself from being harmed, from being hurt. And that is why you go and do things that are totally not thought out well, or are just based on, those emotional outbursts. Sometimes, we need what we call receipts, and we need those solid evidences to prove that our claims are actually true. But there are also several phenomena in which human beings have this intuition, or that feeling that they are being cheated on, or that the situation calls for them to be actually jealous. But can you be jealous without no reason at all? Well, there are some people like that. And those people who are extremely jealous over a lot of things, even they're jealous even, if their significant other is with their families, their significant other is with their friends, or significant others, is with their dogs or pets, even like talking to a plant. This kind of jealousy is something that needs to be addressed internally. It's rooting from a deep place of hurt, insecurities, unfounded fears that person is actually experiencing. The second one is for you to, as much as possible, remain calm. When you feel this, give yourself some time to process those emotions. It's okay for you to feel vulnerable, because when you love another person, you actually make yourself vulnerable emotionally. You have to remember that you are in a relationship, and in that decision, you have decided to love that person. You also have decided that you will become vulnerable with that person. And with that decision comes the possibility of you being hurt in the process sometime soon. These are unavoidable risks. Next is that you can express your jealousy in a soft way. You can be jealous, but not too confrontational and aggressive. You can be humorous. You can be diplomatic. You can also be straightforward, but not disrespectful. So these are the things that you can actually do to express your jealousy, because I do get jealous, but recently when I get jealous, I use my humorous side to express it to my partner, so that my partner would know that I am not okay with it. And sometimes I'm also a bit straightforward, and I will tell to my partner that I am jealous. And there are also times that I am diplomatic and try to understand what the situation first and ask my partner about it. So, to each their own on how they would express their jealousy. But again, when you express those jealousy, as much as possible, try to express it in a healthier way, not necessarily to confront, humiliate your partner, especially if it's in public, because it's not going to end up really well. The next thing that you need to understand is a lot of people are jealous because they have this self-esteem issues that they were not able to deal with. These self-esteem issues are deep-seated, you know. These are fears when they were younger. These are insecurities that they have with their bodies, with their abilities. And there are times that these insecurities and fears will get the best of you, or even the worst. You need to appreciate yourself. You need to appreciate your value, and you need to appreciate your worth as a person. You need to tell yourself that every now and then that your worth, you have a value. But at the same time, if you have a partner, it is also best to tell your partner that you value them. You tell your partner that you give them worth. You tell them of the good things that you see in them, something that they can hold on to in the relationship that makes them feel that you are confident with the relationship. You are confident with your partner. You're proud with your partner, and that there will be no there will be no instances that you're going to leave your partner for someone else. And that is why it was critical when Gav was asking Kai about who Kai thinks is more handsome, him or Wesley. And then Kai actually said none, like, or both. He didn't answer directly and said it was his partner. That in itself has an impact for a person who has already a lower self-esteem in the relationship. You saw the reaction of Gav when Kai actually answered that, and then what actually Kai did was to retract and said, oh, you already know the answer. However, there are times you have to say it outright. There are times that you have to reinforce your partner of their strengths, reinforce them of the good qualities that they have, and reinforce them of the good things that your relationship have. That makes your partner more comfortable, your partner more confident. You need to reaffirm yourself of the good qualities that you have, because at the end of the day, you have to remind yourself that the reason why you have this partner with you is because this partner loves and likes for who you are and your qualities that you possess. Because in the first place, if he or she doesn't like you at all with your qualities, then there's no relationship at all to begin with. So you just have to put that in your mind. Another thing about dealing with jealousy in a relationship is you need to deal with your own wounds. Even though that you have a significant other, you need to do that on your own. That is a personal process and a personal journey. Sometimes you just have to take a time off and assess those things. Close all the things that you need to close. All those chapters in your life that needs closure. And that's why I appreciated Terrence and Gav, because they were able to close that chapter. They were able to somehow heal those wounds. However, perhaps the time wasn't that long yet for the wounds to heal as rapidly as I thought. That's why Kai would still react to Terrence like that. The next one is you have to trust your partner. This is one of the most important things that you need to keep in mind. Jealousy is a crack in the glass ceiling. It's a crack in the mirror. And if you don't have that trust to your partner, this crack will widen. It's going to broaden, and it's going to kill the relationship in the long run. You have to trust that your partner is your partner, and he or she decides to be with you. When you love someone every day. It's a decision that you make every day. In whatever things that you do, and to whoever that you come along with or you interact with, that decision has to be made by you and your partner. Trust your partner. And lastly, you have to trust yourself, that you can love as deep as possible without any regrets. Trust that your love for your partner is your anchor and not the doubts that you have in your head. Trust in yourself that you can manage this stressful situation that you are in, and you will be able to find a way to fix it. In conclusion, jealousy is that poison that destroys the relationship. There is somehow a healthy jealousy that's a little bit cute and all, but too much of that jealousy is poisonous, and it might ruin the relationship if that jealousy is not going to be addressed as early as possible. So in this situation, as you can see in Kai and Gav, they need to address it. But I think they need to address it when their heads are cooler, so that they'll be able to, give time to listen to what that person is actually saying. And hopefully when you get the chance to talk it out, you can have a rule wherein one person can speak while the other is just silent and listening and processing. And once a person is done, your significant partner can now start talking and trying to assess. And at the same time, when you are trying to discuss these things, it can also be helpful when you use a different perspective. And that perspective is, what might he or she think or feel about what I'm going to say? Instead of the default, which is, do you know what my feeling is? Like, how about me? How about my feelings? How about my emotions? How about my, whatever the hurt that I'm feeling right now? So all of these things, you can reverse that and try to understand the other person before you. And perhaps you might be able to deal with these issues better, and at the same time your relationship will grow strong. I hope you like my reaction for today's episode, and if you like it, please do comment below on your thoughts and let's discuss there. And also please do see review voice by Gus Agustin, because I was there. We were able to talk about this for 4 hours, and I'm going to see you in the next reaction video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click on that notification bell so you will be updated on my new contents. I'm going to see you next time. Bye.